The massive dome of the Galactic Council stretched impossibly high above Ambassador Rachel Ward, its crystalline walls pulsing with alien bioluminescence that made her skin crawl. She stood alone on a platform of pure energy, surrounded by the most terrifying sight any human had ever witnessed. Representatives from over 300 alien species, all staring down at her with expressions ranging from curiosity to undisguised hostility. The chamber itself defied human understanding. Gravity worked differently here, allowing delegates to sit on walls and ceilings as easily as floors. Beings of living gas floated in containment fields while crystalline entities refracted light into impossible patterns. In the center of it all, 12 ancient forms dominated elevated thrones, their presence so overwhelming that Rachel's diplomatic training screamed at her to bow, to submit, to beg for mercy. She did none of those things. Instead, Rachel Ward, former military officer turned Earth's first galactic ambassador, straightened her shoulders and met the gaze of the most powerful beings in the galaxy with calm defiance. Her simple black uniform looked primitive compared to the flowing energy garments and biomechanical suits around her, but she wore it like armor. "Human of Terra," rumbled the largest of the 12 council members, its voice somehow filling the entire chamber despite speaking barely above a whisper. The translation device in Rachel's ear identified the speaker as Prime Counselor Drath, a being so ancient that several alien religions considered it a living god. "You stand accused of violating the fundamental laws that govern all civilized species. Your people have been observed developing technologies beyond your permitted classification level." Rachel had prepared for this moment for 3 years, ever since humanity had discovered they were not alone in the universe. What they learned next had changed everything. Earth was already part of galactic civilization, classified as a developing species under strict technological limitations. Humans were supposed to remain unaware of the galaxy around them for at least another 2 centuries. "Honored Counselor," Rachel began, her voice carrying clearly without amplification, "I believe there has been a fundamental misunderstanding about human development and capabilities." A ripple of what might have been laughter echoed through the chamber. Counselor Vex, a spider-like being with too many eyes, clicked mandibles in apparent amusement. "Misunderstanding? Your primitive species somehow developed quantum computing and faster-than-light travel in mere decades. This violates every known law of technological progression." Rachel smiled, and the expression sent an uncomfortable silence through the assembled delegates. Something about that smile suggested she knew far more than any primitive species should. "I appreciate your concern, Counselor Vex. But before we discuss violations of galactic law, perhaps we should address a more pressing question. How long have humans actually been aware of your existence?" The question hung in the air like a physical presence. Several counselors exchanged glances through methods Rachel was only beginning to understand. Flashes of colored light, chemical emissions, electromagnetic pulses. Prime Counselor Drath's massive form shifted, causing the energy platform beneath his bulk to fluctuate. "Your species achieved spaceflight 53 of your years ago. Our monitoring began immediately afterward." "Interesting," Rachel nodded thoughtfully, "because human records show first detection of galactic monitoring technology 78 years ago." The chamber erupted. Delegates from dozens of species began communicating in rapid bursts of sound, light, and energy. The translation devices struggled to keep up with the chaos, but Rachel caught enough to understand panic, confusion, and growing alarm. "Impossible," hissed Counselor Zara, whose serpentine form coiled with agitation. "Our stealth technology is undetectable by species below Class 4 development status." "Was undetectable," Rachel corrected gently. "You see, honored counselors, this brings us to the first misunderstanding. You've been operating under the assumption that human technological development has been natural." She paused, letting the implications sink in. Around the chamber, alien delegates were accessing private communication networks, their various forms of technology creating a symphony of clicks, hums, and flashes. "What exactly are you suggesting?" Prime Counselor Drath demanded, his voice now carrying undertones that made the chamber's crystals resonate ominously. Rachel's expression never changed, but her next words sent shockwaves through the assembly. "I'm suggesting that perhaps the Council should have paid closer attention to its own classification of humanity. After all, it was your own xenobiological assessment that first labeled us as a potentially hazardous species requiring immediate monitoring and possible containment. She gestured to the chamber around them, her movement somehow drawing attention to the massive military presence visible through the transparent walls. Instead of containment, you chose observation. Instead of contact, you chose manipulation. And instead of honesty, you chose to treat humanity as an unwitting experiment. Counselor Vex's many eyes focused on Rachel with laser intensity. You speak as if your species has been aware of galactic civilization for decades. We have been, Rachel confirmed, her voice carrying across the suddenly silent chamber. The question you should be asking is not what humans have achieved, but what we've chosen to let you see. The energy platform beneath Rachel's feet began pulsing with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat. Several counselors noticed this anomaly and began backing away from their positions, their various forms showing clear signs of alarm. Counselor Drath, Rachel continued, your monitoring stations have been observing Earth for 78 years. In all that time, did it never occur to you to wonder why human technological development seemed to accelerate every time galactic observers changed their monitoring patterns? The massive being's form darkened. What are you implying? Rachel's smile widened, and for the first time since entering the chamber, she allowed her diplomatic mask to slip slightly, revealing the steel beneath. I'm implying that Earth's greatest export has never been minerals or biological samples. It's been information. About you. About your technologies. About your weaknesses. She raised her hand, and every monitoring device in the chamber simultaneously displayed the same message in over 300 galactic languages. Human fleet approaching. Estimated arrival 4 hours, diplomatic status to be determined. The reaction was immediate and chaotic. Warning alarms began sounding throughout the massive structure, while delegates frantically accessed emergency protocols. Through the chamber's walls, Rachel could see the automated defense systems of the galactic capital, activating for the first time in over a millennium. You're threatening the Council? Counselor Zara hissed, her serpentine form raised in an attack position. I'm informing the Council, Rachel replied calmly. For 78 years, you've studied humanity while believing you controlled the flow of information. Today, you discover that humans have been studying you just as intensively, with one crucial difference. We knew we were doing it. Prime Counselor Drath's voice shook the chamber. What do you want? Rachel straightened, and for a moment, every being in the chamber saw not a primitive species making demands, but a representative of something that had been planning this moment for nearly 8 decades. What humanity wants, honored counselors, is very simple, the truth. About why you've been manipulating our development, about the real threats facing the galaxy, and about why the most powerful governing body in known space has been so interested in a supposedly primitive species from a backwater world, as alien fleets scrambled to respond to humanity's approaching forces. Rachel Ward stood at the center of the storm she had unleashed, knowing that the next few hours would determine whether humanity joined galactic civilization as equals or as conquerors. The age of human ignorance was over, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when it underestimated the species it had been secretly preparing for war. 4 hours earlier, Admiral James Carter stood on the command deck of the UES Defiance, watching through reinforced viewports as his fleet of 62 ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Council territory. The vessels looked deceptively simple compared to the organic curves and flowing designs favored by galactic civilizations, but appearances had always been humanity's greatest weapon. Admiral, called Captain Lisa Morgan from the tactical station, all ships report successful jump completion. The diplomatic insertion is proceeding as planned. Carter nodded grimly. Rachel Ward wasn't just buying them time with her performance in the council chamber. She was gathering critical intelligence on every major galactic power, while their attention focused on what they believed was humanity's first contact with interstellar politics. Sir, Lieutenant Commander David Kim reported from communications. We're detecting massive fleet movements throughout council space. It appears several alien factions are mobilizing in response to our arrival. Expected, Carter replied, studying the holographic displays that showed his fleet's true capabilities for the first time. Dr. Martinez, report on our technological advantages. Dr. Sarah Martinez materialized as a hologram beside the Admiral, her physical body remaining safely aboard the research vessel Prometheus. The quantum entanglement communication system that allowed her real-time presence across impossible distances was just one of many technologies that officially didn't exist in human space. Admiral, our 78 years of covert observation have given us unprecedented advantages, Dr. Martinez began, her image flickering slightly as data streamed through quantum channels. First, we've identified critical weaknesses in standard galactic fleet formations. They've become predictable, relying on numerical superiority and technological consistency rather than innovation. Carter examined the tactical readouts showing alien fleet positions throughout the sector. Elaborate on our hybrid advantages. Our ships combine reverse-engineered galactic technology with human engineering principles, Dr. Martinez explained. Take our jump drives. Standard galactic FTL requires massive energy cores and follows predictable emergence patterns. Human modifications have reduced power requirements by 60% and allow variable trajectory jumping. We can appear anywhere within a three-dimensional probability field. Captain Morgan looked up from her station, excitement barely contained in her voice. Sir, we're also registering confusion from the monitoring stations. Several alien observers are transmitting requests for clarification about our ship classifications. Carter smiled coldly. They should be confused. Dr. Martinez explained the masking protocols. Every vessel in this fleet appears to register as having 1/3 our actual mass and energy signature, Dr. Martinez continued. We've been using modified Council stealth technology to hide our true capabilities. Technology they abandoned decades ago because they considered it inefficient for large-scale operations. Lieutenant Commander Kim suddenly straightened at his station. Admiral, priority transmission from Earth Command. President Hassan is addressing the Global Assembly, and the transmission is being broadcast on all galactic frequencies. The main screen shifted to show humanity's leaders standing before the combined representatives of Earth's nations. Her expression carried the weight of a decision that would reshape galactic politics forever. Citizens of Earth, and beings throughout the galaxy, President Hassan began, for nearly 8 decades, humanity has lived with the knowledge that we are not alone in the universe. Today, we reveal that this knowledge came not through peaceful contact, but through discovery of systematic deception by the Galactic Council. Carter watched as the transmission reached every inhabited world in Council space simultaneously. Humanity wasn't just announcing their military capabilities. They were shattering the fundamental assumptions that held galactic society together. The Galactic Council has been manipulating human development for almost a century, President Hassan continued, treating Earth as an unwitting laboratory for social and technological experimentation. They have guided our conflicts, influenced our discoveries, and prepared us for purposes we were never told about. Dr. Martinez activated new displays showing the scope of human intelligence gathering. Admiral, we're detecting emergency communications across 17 different species. The revelation is causing exactly the political instability our strategists predicted. They're realizing that if humans could deceive the Council for 8 decades, their own governments might not be telling them the truth either, Carter observed. Status on the secondary objectives? Captain Morgan consulted her displays. Sir, Ambassador Ward has successfully accessed the Council's classified databases. We now have complete intelligence on the real threat they've been preparing us to face. The main display shifted to show images that made even experienced military officers pause. Beyond the galactic rim, space itself appeared wrong. Dark regions expanded slowly but measurably, consuming star systems and leaving only emptiness behind. The extragalactic threat, Dr. Martinez announced, her voice carrying new urgency. The Council has known for over a century that something from outside the galaxy has been systematically destroying star systems. Every manipulation of human development has been designed to create specific military capabilities. Carter studied the approaching darkness. They've been preparing us as weapons against something they're too afraid to fight themselves. Worse than that, Dr. Martinez replied, activating detailed tactical analyses. The Council's own classified research indicates they've been planning to retreat to prepared positions in other galaxies, leaving all current galactic civilizations as expendable barriers. Lieutenant Commander Kim reported, Sir, we're receiving response transmissions from multiple factions. The hegemony border worlds are requesting immediate alliance discussions. The Free Trade Coalition is demanding access to our intelligence archives. Even the nomad fleets are breaking communication silence. Carter watched as the galactic political landscape shifted in real time. Phase 2 is working exactly as planned. Dr. Martinez began revealing the Council's individual secrets. Let's see how united they remain when their personal deceptions start becoming public. The quantum communication network erupted with activity as human AI systems began releasing carefully selected information about each Council member's hidden agendas, illegal mining operations, secret military buildups, unauthorized experiments on sentient species, and decades of treaty violations flooded galactic networks simultaneously. "Admiral," Captain Morgan announced, "the alien fleets are changing formation. Instead of converging on our position, they're heading for Council headquarters. It appears they want answers more than they want to fight us." Carter nodded with satisfaction. "Excellent. Time to Council space?" 3 hours, 47 minutes, sir. And Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the research stations hidden in the outer system. The projects are complete and ready for deployment. For the first time since the operation began, Carter allowed himself a moment of genuine hope. Hidden throughout Earth's solar system, massive construction projects had been building weapons and defenses based on technologies no galactic civilization had ever seen. Humanity's greatest advantage had never been their adaptability or aggression. It was their willingness to attempt solutions that other species considered impossible. Dr. Martinez, begin Phase 3. It's time the galaxy learned about the real reason we've been so interested in their technology. The holographic display shifted to show the solar system as no alien observer had ever seen it. Hidden installations on Luna, Mars, and throughout the asteroid belt became visible, along with massive orbital platforms that defied conventional understanding of human capabilities. For 78 years, Dr. Martinez announced on all galactic frequencies, humanity has been preparing not just for contact with galactic civilization, but for the extragalactic threat the Council has been hiding. We know about the void entities. We know about the destroyed predecessor civilizations. And we know that every species in the galaxy has been manipulated into fulfilling specific roles in the Council's secret defense plans. Carter watched as alien communication networks overloaded with frantic transmissions. The Council's greatest secret was spreading throughout the galaxy, and with it, the realization that humanity had been preparing for this revelation since their first contact with alien technology. "All ships," Carter ordered, "proceed to Council space. We have a galaxy to save. And the first step is showing them that sometimes the species everyone underestimates can be exactly what civilization needs to survive." As the human fleet jumped toward the heart of galactic power, Carter couldn't suppress a grim smile. The aliens had spent decades studying humanity's capacity for warfare. They were about to discover that humans had been studying something far more important, their capacity for uniting former enemies against impossible odds. In the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Rachel Ward watched with calculated satisfaction as the revelation of humanity's knowledge sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. The carefully maintained facade of Council unity was cracking, like glass under pressure, and each new piece of information she released drove the fractures deeper. Prime Counselor Drath's massive crystalline form, flickered through a spectrum of colors that Rachel's briefings had taught her, indicated extreme emotional distress. How could your primitive species possibly possess classified intelligence about extragalactic threats? That information exists only in our most secure databases. The same way we know about Counselor Vex's unauthorized weapon sales to the hegemony separatists, Rachel replied with diplomatic calm, or Counselor Zara's secret breeding programs using genetic material from unwilling species, or your own illegal mining operations in the protected sanctuary zones. Prime Counselor. The chamber exploded into chaos. Minor council members began demanding explanations from the major powers, while others frantically accessed private communication systems to contact their home governments. The sight of hundreds of alien species arguing simultaneously created a cacophony that the translation systems struggled to process. Counselor Vex's spider-like form reared back, mandibles clicking in rapid patterns. Those communications are protected by quantum encryption protocols that have never been broken, not even by the most advanced galactic civilizations. Rachel gestured calmly, and holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber. showing detailed records of secret meetings, hidden financial transactions, and classified military operations. Human quantum computing achieved breakthrough levels of processing power 12 years ago, Counselor. Your encryption might as well be written in ancient script. Dr. Sarah Martinez's hologram flickered to life beside Rachel, causing several alien delegates to recoil in surprise. They hadn't expected humans to possess long-range projection technology, much less use it to insert themselves into the heart of galactic government. Honored council members, Dr. Martinez began, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had spent decades studying their weaknesses. Perhaps we should discuss the real reason you've been so fascinated with humanity's development. She activated a massive display showing the galactic spiral and the expanding dark regions beyond its edge. Your own classified research confirms that the extragalactic entities will reach inhabited space within 18 months. The same entities that destroyed the architect civilization, the builder cultures, and at least 4 other predecessor species. This information is classified beyond your clearance level, Counselor Zara hissed, her serpentine form coiled in an aggressive posture. Nothing is beyond our clearance level anymore, Rachel replied, displaying council documents that made several delegates gasp in recognition. Project Prometheus initiated 79 years ago. Objective: manipulate human development to create optimal biological warfare assets against extragalactic threats. Current status: approaching completion. The revelation sent visible shockwaves through the assembly. Many of the minor species representatives had never heard of Project Prometheus, and their various forms of outrage created a symphony of alien distress calls. Dr. Martinez continued the devastating disclosure. The Council has been using humanity as an unwitting weapon development program. Every war we've fought, every technological breakthrough we've achieved, every cultural evolution over the past 8 decades has been carefully guided to produce specific military capabilities. You're lying, Counselor Drath rumbled, but his crystalline form was now cycling through colors that indicated uncertainty rather than anger. Rachel smiled, and the expression carried none of her earlier diplomatic warmth. The Council's own xenobiological studies are quite detailed, Prime Counselor. Humans possess 3 characteristics deemed essential for combating extragalactic threats: unprecedented adaptability, willingness to sacrifice individual survival for group benefit, and what your researchers term tactically advantageous irrationality in hopeless situations. She activated another display showing detailed psychological profiles and genetic analyses. In simpler terms, humans are the only species you've found that's crazy enough to fight impossible battles for abstract concepts like freedom and justice, rather than simple survival. Counselor Vex's many eyes focused on Rachel with laser intensity. Even if these accusations were true, what does your species hope to accomplish with this? Revelation? Understanding, Dr. Martinez replied, her hologram flickering as quantum data streams updated her with real-time intelligence. You see, while the Council was manipulating humanity, other species throughout the galaxy were watching. The Collective, the Free Traders, the Nomad Fleets, dozens of independent worlds. They've all been documenting the Council's deceptions. As if summoned by her words, warning alarms began echoing throughout the chamber. Counselor Drath accessed his private communication networks, his form darkening as emergency reports flooded in. 15 different factions have launched fleets toward Council space, he announced grimly. Combined fleet strength exceeds 300 vessels. They're not coming to attack humanity, Rachel explained. They're coming to ensure that our revelations continue and that the galaxy finally gets honest answers about decades of manipulation and hidden threats. Dr. Martinez activated displays showing the true scope of human intelligence gathering. We've spent 78 years documenting every injustice, every secret agreement, every hidden manipulation the Council has performed. The approaching fleets know exactly what questions to ask and what answers to demand. Counselor Zara's serpentine form began swaying in what Rachel recognized as extreme agitation. What is your ultimate objective? What does humanity want from this chaos? Change, Rachel replied simply. A new structure for galactic civilization based on cooperation rather than deception. Humanity offers our expertise in rapid technological adaptation and unconventional warfare. the Council provides their accumulated knowledge and established resources. Together, we prepare for the extragalactic threat while eliminating the lies that have weakened us all. And if the Council refuses? Counselor Vex asked, his mandibles clicking ominously. Rachel's expression hardened, revealing the steel beneath her diplomatic facade. Then you face the approaching fleets alone, while humanity shares our complete intelligence archives with anyone willing to listen. Did you really think we spent 8 decades studying galactic civilization without learning about every species' grievances against Council authority? She gestured to new displays showing the full extent of human knowledge. Documentation of suppressed technologies, restricted worlds, species forced into client status, civilizations destroyed for refusing Council authority, and carefully orchestrated conflicts designed to prevent independent alliances. The galaxy is changing, honored counselors, Rachel announced. The only question is whether you'll help build something better or be swept aside by the forces you've spent so long trying to control. Through the chamber's transparent walls, the first lights of approaching alien fleets became visible against the starfield. The age of Council supremacy was ending, and representatives from across the galaxy were coming to witness its transformation. Dr. Martinez's hologram flickered as quantum communications transmitted humanity's complete intelligence database to every major faction simultaneously. The game of secrets is ending, counselors. In the next 6 hours, every species in the galaxy will know exactly what the Council has been hiding. As emergency protocols activated throughout the galactic capital and alien fleets converged on Council space, Rachel Ward stood calmly at the center of the chaos she had unleashed. Sometimes the only way to save civilization was to destroy the lies it had been built upon. One final piece of information, she announced as the chamber erupted around her. The extragalactic entities aren't just consuming star systems randomly, they're following a specific pattern, targeting civilizations in order of their technological advancement. The Council's manipulation hasn't just been preparing humanity for war, it's been ensuring that when the entities arrive, they'll encounter the most dangerous species in the galaxy first. The implications hit the assembled delegates like a physical blow. Everything they thought they knew about their place in the galactic hierarchy was not just wrong, but deliberately constructed to serve the Council's secret agenda. The revolution had begun, and humanity stood at its center, ready to unite a galaxy that had never truly been united before. Admiral James Carter watched through the command viewport as 19 different galactic fleets converged on Council space, creating the largest gathering of military vessels in recorded history. The human fleet held the center position not as conquerors, but as the catalyst for the greatest political upheaval the galaxy had ever witnessed. Admiral, Captain Morgan reported, we're receiving simultaneous communication requests from every major faction. Priority channels are overloading with incoming transmissions. Accept the collective flagship first, Carter ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing Fleet Commander Nash, whose aquatic form moved gracefully within a specialized command chamber filled with breathable liquid. Admiral Carter, Nash began, his translated voice carrying undertones of respect mixed with wariness. The collective demands verification of these claims about Council manipulation. Your species alleges deception spanning centuries. What proof do you offer beyond convenient timing? Carter nodded to Dr. Martinez, whose holographic presence was maintaining simultaneous communication across dozens of channels. Commander Nash, we've transmitted detailed archives of Council interference targeting your species specifically. The resource allocation conflicts that shaped collective expansion, the technological dependencies deliberately created through gift exchanges, the strategic partnerships arranged to limit your independence. Nash's aquatic form went rigid as data streams updated his tactical displays. These events defined our entire cultural development. As they were designed to, Dr. Martinez replied. The Council has been practicing social engineering on a galactic scale. Every major conflict, breakthrough, or cultural shift of the past 5 centuries can be traced to their influence. Carter switched channels, addressing Commander Rex of the Free Trade Coalition. The grizzled alien's cybernetic implants whirred as he processed incoming intelligence reports. Carter, if your data is accurate, the trade wars, the route restrictions, the mining rights disputes were all artificially created? All of them, Carter confirmed. But Commander, the manipulation goes deeper than economics. The Council has been systematically preventing effective alliances between independent species. Every time cooperation became too successful, mysterious conflicts would emerge to fracture the partnerships. On a third channel, Captain Tor of the Nomad Fleet studied holographic star charts with growing alarm. These migration routes our people have followed for generations were suggested, rather than discovered. The Council has been herding nomadic populations away from specific systems for centuries, Dr. Martinez explained. Systems containing either strategic resources or evidence of the predecessor civilizations destroyed by the extragalactic threat, Carter observed as the revelation rippled through the assembled fleets. Each faction was simultaneously discovering that their most fundamental beliefs about their own history were carefully constructed lies designed to serve Council purposes. All fleets. This is Admiral Carter, he announced on general frequencies. Before we proceed, you need to understand the full scope of what's approaching our galaxy. He activated long-range sensors, displaying images that brought silence to every communication channel. Beyond the galactic rim, space itself appeared distorted. Dark regions expanded measurably, consuming entire star systems and leaving only void behind. The extragalactic entities aren't theoretical, Carter continued. They're already destroying systems at the galactic edge. Council intelligence estimates 18 months before they reach inhabited worlds. Fleet Commander Nash's voice carried new understanding. The Council was preparing us as weapons against this threat. More precisely as expendable shields, Dr. Martinez corrected. Council contingency plans involve retreating to prepared positions, while client species serve as successive defensive barriers. Humanity was designated as the final line, because our psychological profiles indicate willingness to fight hopeless battles. Carter switched to a secure channel with Admiral Elena Torres, whose fleet had arrived from Earth's defensive positions. Elena, report on Council response to the revelations. Admiral Torres appeared on screen, her expression grim. James, the Council is fragmenting. 4 members have withdrawn to emergency consultation with their home governments. 3 others are demanding access to classified threat assessment data. Prime Counselor Drath is attempting to maintain authority, but the minor members are openly questioning decades of policy. Threat assessment update? Critical, Dr. Martinez interrupted. Long-range sensors confirm the entities aren't just consuming matter. They're learning from each encounter, adapting faster than any predecessor civilization recorded. Early warning stations report technological evolution occurring in real time. Carter studied the tactical display showing fleet positions around Council space. Despite historic grievances, the assembled factions were maintaining formation rather than engaging in combat. Fear of the greater threat was temporarily overriding centuries of manipulation-induced conflicts. All fleet commanders, Carter announced, we have a choice. Continue the patterns the Council established, fighting each other while an existential threat approaches, or attempt something unprecedented in galactic history. Explain, came responses from multiple channels simultaneously. True alliance. No species hierarchy. No dominant authority. No client relationships. Humanity contributes adaptability and unconventional thinking. The collective provides organizational expertise. The free traders offer resource networks. The nomads bring mobility and reconnaissance. Together, we become something none of us could achieve separately. Commander Rex's cybernetic systems processed data streams rapidly. And if the Council refuses to accept this restructuring? Carter's expression hardened. Then they face the extragalactic threat with whatever resources remain after the galaxy stops supporting their authority. Through quantum networks, real-time voting was occurring across hundreds of worlds. The results were becoming clear. Galactic civilization was ready for fundamental change. Admiral, Captain Morgan reported. Priority transmission from the Council chamber. Prime Counselor Drath is requesting immediate conference with all faction leaders. Carter smiled grimly. Inform the Prime Counselor that negotiations will be conducted between equals. The age of Council supremacy ends now. Suddenly, long-range sensors detected something that changed everything. Massive artificial structures were moving through space beyond the galaxy's edge, constructed from the consumed matter of destroyed star systems. The entities weren't just destroying civilizations. They were building something enormous from the wreckage. All fleets, Carter announced, his voice carrying across quantum networks to every ship, station, and listening post in the galaxy. The preliminary phase is over. Long-range analysis indicates the entities are constructing a galaxy-spanning megastructure. We have months, not years, before it becomes operational. The greatest gathering of military power in galactic history held position around Council space. Facing a choice between unity and extinction, the entities had consumed civilizations that stood alone. Now they would face something unprecedented. A voluntary alliance of former enemies united by necessity and guided by the species everyone had underestimated. Time to decision point? Carter asked. 4 hours until the Council must choose, Captain Morgan replied. And Admiral, we're receiving alliance proposals from 12 different factions. They want to begin immediate integration protocols. Carter nodded, watching as the future of galactic civilization balanced on the edge of his command decisions. Dr. Martinez, begin Phase 4. Release the technological integration protocols. It's time to show the galaxy what cooperation can achieve when species stop limiting themselves to artificial hierarchies. As human innovations began merging with alien technologies in real time, creating capabilities that surpassed anything in recorded history, Admiral Carter knew that the next few hours would determine whether consciousness itself survived in their region of the universe. The war for galactic survival was about to begin, and humanity had just taught the universe that sometimes the most unlikely species could become exactly what civilization needed to face the impossible. The Galactic Council chamber had been transformed into something unprecedented in its ancient history, a meeting of equals. The elevated platforms that had symbolized Council supremacy were gone, replaced by a circular arrangement where humanity sat alongside the most powerful beings in the galaxy as partners rather than subjects. Ambassador Rachel Ward found herself positioned between Fleet Commander Nash of the Collective and Captain Tor of the Nomad Fleets, while Admiral Carter participated through quantum hologram from the Unified Fleet Command Center. Around the circle, representatives from 27 major factions created a gathering that would have been impossible mere hours before. Prime Counselor Drath, his crystalline form noticeably dimmed from its usual brilliant radiance, spoke first. The Council acknowledges that our methods of governance have created significant problems in galactic unity. Problems? Commander Rex's cybernetic voice carried sharp irony. You've been manipulating entire civilizations for centuries, treating us like laboratory specimens. Dr. Martinez's holographic presence flickered as she transmitted real-time analysis to all participants. Honored representatives, while accountability for past actions is crucial, we face an immediate crisis requiring unprecedented cooperation. The chamber's main display showed the latest reconnaissance data from beyond the galactic rim. The extragalactic entities' expansion had accelerated dramatically, and their constructed megastructures now dwarfed anything in recorded galactic history. The analysis is complete, Dr. Martinez announced. The entities aren't just consuming matter randomly. They're converting entire star systems into components of a single galaxy-spanning construct. Current projections indicate 14 months before it reaches inhabited space. Silence fell over the assembly like a physical weight. Even the most optimistic previous estimates had suggested at least 3 years of preparation time. Captain Tor spoke quietly, his nomadic people having always been closest to the galactic edge. Our deep space scouts report gravitational distortions affecting hyperspace routes. Several established travel corridors are becoming unstable, which means traditional evacuation strategies won't work, Admiral Carter added grimly through his holographic connection. Once they disrupt enough spacetime, there will be no escape routes to other galaxies. Rachel watched as reality settled over the assembled delegates. This was no longer about politics or power structures. It was about the survival of consciousness itself in their region of the universe. Counselor Vex's spider-like form clicked nervously. Even unified, our combined military capabilities cannot match the scale of what approaches us. Traditional military thinking, no. Rachel agreed. But this is where humanity's perspective becomes essential. She stood, activating holographic displays that showed human fleet compositions and tactical doctrines. While the Council observed our apparently primitive development, we were studying the one resource the galaxy has consistently undervalued, the power of impossible solutions. Dr. Martinez expanded the display to show detailed strategic analyses. Human military history emphasizes adaptation, asymmetric warfare, and attempting strategies that other species consider irrational. We've identified 23 different approaches to combating the entities that no galactic civilization has attempted. Fleet Commander Nash moved forward in his aquatic chamber. Such as? Admiral Carter's hologram smiled grimly, using the entity's own efficiency against them. They follow predictable resource acquisition patterns. We introduce chaos into their operations, forcing adaptation faster than their collective consciousness can process changes. That's completely insane, Counselor Zara hissed, her serpentine form coiling with agitation. Exactly, Rachel replied. Human history is filled with victories achieved through strategies that seemed impossible to rational opponents. The difference is that we've spent 78 years learning to combine human unpredictability with galactic resources and knowledge. Captain Tor gestured to the tactical displays. What specific proposals do you offer? Dr. Martinez activated a comprehensive battle plan that had been developing in real time as human AI systems analyzed the combined capabilities of all assembled factions. Multi-layered defense forcing continuous entity adaptation. The collective manages coordination and logistics. Free traders disrupt entity resource networks. Nomads provide mobile strike capabilities. Humans serve as chaos agents preventing successful adaptation patterns. And the Council's role? Prime Counselor Drath asked quietly. Rachel's expression softened slightly. The Council provides what it has always provided best: accumulated knowledge and established infrastructure. But as partners in survival, not rulers of subjugated species. Admiral Carter's hologram gestured to displays showing rapid technological integration. In the past 72 hours, human engineers working with volunteers from 15 species have achieved breakthrough combinations. We're seeing innovation rates that surpass anything in galactic history. Because we're finally collaborating instead of competing within artificial hierarchies, Dr. Martinez added. Cross-species technological integration is producing capabilities that none of us could develop alone. Commander Rex's mechanical systems whirred as he processed massive data streams. The coordination challenges are enormous. 27 different military doctrines, supply systems, communication protocols. Already solved, Rachel announced, displaying humanity's ultimate preparation. While supposedly primitive, we developed AI systems specifically designed to interface with alien technologies. We've been preparing for exactly this scenario for decades. Around the circle, delegates accessed shared databases, discovering the true scope of human preparation. Contingency plans for alliance structures, technological integration protocols, even cultural adaptation guidelines for species cooperation that humanity wasn't supposed to know existed. Fleet Commander Nash spoke slowly. Your species has been planning this alliance since before official first contact. We've been planning for survival, Admiral Carter corrected. Everything else is implementation detail. Dr. Martinez activated the final revelation. A real-time tactical overview showing the combined fleets reorganizing according to new alliance protocols. Ships that had never operated together were already coordinating movements, sharing sensor data, and beginning joint operations. The entities are still 14 months away, Rachel announced, but they're not adapting to face 27 separate civilizations anymore. They're adapting to face something that has never existed. A unified galactic alliance combining human adaptability with accumulated wisdom spanning millennia. Prime Counselor Drath's crystalline form began brightening slightly. And if this alliance fails? Rachel smiled, and for the first time since the crisis began, her expression carried genuine warmth rather than diplomatic calculation. Then we failed together, as equals defending something worth preserving. But Counselor, humanity didn't spend 8 decades preparing for this moment in order to fail. As if responding to her words, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies for centuries were sharing resources. Isolated colonies were contributing to joint research projects. Ancient grievances were being set aside in favor of species survival. The greatest experiment in galactic history had begun. Not council manipulation of primitive worlds, but voluntary unity of consciousness itself facing extinction. At its heart, the species everyone had underestimated was proving that sometimes civilization's greatest strength lay in its most unlikely members. Admiral Carter's final transmission echoed through every ship, station, and world in the Alliance. The entities consumed civilizations that fought alone. They're about to discover what happens when an entire galaxy fights together. In the depths of space beyond the galactic rim, ancient artificial minds registered something unprecedented in their eons of expansion, a unified galactic civilization adapting faster than they could analyze. For the first time in their existence, the extragalactic entities experienced something resembling uncertainty. The war for galactic survival was about to begin, and humanity had taught the universe that the most powerful weapon against impossible odds was something no entity had ever faced. Voluntary cooperation between former enemies united by hope rather than divided by fear. The age of manipulation was over. The age of alliance had begun.